Cool.
I'll be sending a
As long as you don't say shafts don't matter, you'll be all right.
What
did I tell you? What did I tell you the other day?
If you come out with that, do you know what? People who say shafts don't matter genuinely should have a nappy on their face. They talk so much shit. Pardon my language. Sorry.
Welcome to episode 13. I think it's 13. It's around 13. Let's say episode approximately 13. My favorite number, just FYI, if that ever comes up in the quiz.
Yeah, it is, weirdly.
Although the timings of the podcast are a little bit out for us at the minute because we've been doing double recording weeks with Josh and me and people being away. We have actually been to play our Hoylake match last Thursday, and we're recording on a Monday night. So I'm not going to tell you what the result was because I want you to watch it and I want you to subscribe and do all that nonsense that people beg you to do online. That's now us. But it's worth it, and I'll comment no more on that. I would like to welcome the person who was there to witness the result on the golf, Mike Thelwell Jones, who was the member at Hoylake. So Mike's joining us tonight.
Hi, Mike.
Okay. Hi, Josh.
Yeah, all good. Still, do you know what I was telling a friend of mine about? He asked about the condition of Hoylake the other day. So again, just to reiterate, a big thank you for letting us on there. But that course was something else. I really enjoyed it.
I'm glad you guys had fun. It's always a pleasure bringing people to play there and just to see what they think, especially in open year. Obviously the course is recovering really well from having obviously the biggest tournament in golf.
Yeah.
And there's not that much evidence of that anyone was ever there. No stands left. Obviously a few bits to the side of the fairways and stuff where the hospitality was, and the biggest stands, you can see that something was there, but the actual course itself is pretty much back to normal now.
For me, actually, it was really interesting to see what was cut in order to put the stands in, because when you play a golf course, let's say 1 year after it's held the Open, there really is no evidence left of the Open Championship. Whereas I think for us last week there was, because there would be gorse bushes in places there wasn't. There would be thicker rough in places that there wasn't. But what's fascinating is, in terms of the area on the floor, the grandstands don't take that much room because obviously they're built vertically. But you look at them and you think, fucking hell, where do you get that type of room to put such a big grandstand? But then you see where they've cut and you think, I was sat in this grandstand and actually haven't taken that much room of the golf course. So it makes you think actually that a lot more golf courses could hold prestigious events, because you wouldn't need that much room to place grandstands, would you?
I think it depends on the site, to be honest, but I think Hoylake's quite blessed in the sense that it has quite a lot of room around the greens where you can site stands like that. Obviously 17 being a completely new hole, we weren't sure where they were going to put things. Obviously thought there'd be one around the tee because there is space there, but I wasn't sure whether they'd managed to fit one in around the green anywhere. But obviously they did have the one on the right hand side, if you're looking at it from the tee, that was very popular with spectators. And it very quickly became the place to go and watch the golf from. Despite the fact that from there you can probably, even if you're sat in that stand, you can obviously look out over the whole course back towards the clubhouse, but you can obviously see pros hit into 17. You might possibly be able to see them hit off 15 tee as well. Don't think you can see 14 green from there. So from a spectator point of view, you really are kind of focusing on that one shot because you feel it's really important to watch. And the 17th creating the buzz that it did was obviously was great for the event, and to see the fact that we had a one hole in one, and I certainly saw at least one triple bogey live. So I feel like it played. It played kind of as most people expected that it would, and obviously if you'd like to see how we got on, then I'm sure there'll be another video of that coming out, which is always interesting. And one thing I will say on the match that I was privileged is the right word, privileged to witness on Thursday, is that it is definitely worth seeing. There's some golf played, I'll say that.
Cheers, Mike. I appreciate that. There was some golf played. Do you know what? On the topic of the actual course, before I don't want to ramble on too much on it, but like you were saying, just for grandstands, Osh, who's been on the pod before, and he came with us. We were talking and we were saying how much smaller it looks as a golf course as opposed to an event. Like when I was watching it looked like, honestly, like they were miles apart, the grandstands and stuff. But when you actually play it, you realise how much smaller it is. But the other thing I was shocked at as well was, and you very kindly pointed it out, you'll see it in the video, in the videos that we play, of how much further back the pros' tees were. We were playing like 420, 430, sometimes 450 yard par fours, and they were from pretty much the front.
Yeah, add another 30 or 40. Yeah,
it was ridiculous, and I couldn't believe it.
These guys are the best players on the planet. It's and the fact that Brian Harman shot, was it 13 under for 4 rounds, was the fact that he is one of the very best of the best golfers on the planet. He was the best golfer on the planet that week. And I really hope over time that he gets the recognition for that win, because to watch it as a fan and a member of the golf course was something else. The strategy involved. I'm not sure whether I said it to you guys on Thursday, but I've certainly said it recently to other people. Hoylake is a really technically demanding golf course, and particularly for the pros, because it's not always driver. It's not just bomb and gouge. You can't necessarily get away with bomb and gouge in an open. And Brian Harman hit quite a lot of fairways and hold a lot of putts, which is obviously the key to winning a lot of golf tournaments. But I think particularly at an open where the weather wasn't the best, and obviously, they bring the fairways in, they're playing it off, sort of 7,200 yards. It's really important to do the basics in that sense. And if you think about it as well, they played 10 as a par 4, which is obviously it's a par 5 for the members, but also it was a par 5, I believe, in 2014. So actually, in real terms, hit 17 under. Yeah. When you think about it like that. Yeah. Which is obviously very similar to Rory and Tiger's scores when they won their opens at Hoylake, and I really think it's up there with a top major win, and I really hope over time that he gets the credit for that, because I don't think, unfortunately, that he did around the day and the couple of days after winning the event. Yeah. Unfortunately, obviously some of the fans got on him as well, because obviously he wasn't Rory or Tommy, which everybody would have wanted to see a Rory or Tommy win there. I think 95% of the crowd would have anyway.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't get any credit for it, because he's not Rory, he's not Tommy.
Yeah, you said that. You said that the day.
Hang on a second, Tris. You're a left-hander.
Exactly, Mike.
Oh, mate.
Surely honestly, left-handers union counts for something. How many left-handers don't win that many majors?
We've talked about this, I think, like extensively within the family. But I was saying, like, as a left-handed golfer, as a fader, as everything, I was like,
yeah.
Even I will.
I mean, he does putt better than you, Tris, to be fair.
Well, I think he puts better than anyone in the history of golf. 58 from 59 within 10 foot. It's historic.
Yeah, that was outstanding.
That is going to get the job done around anyway, but especially at Hoylake in major week, I'd say.
Well, you short side yourself, and you're like, it's considering it's such a flat course. It's quite a flat course. But if you miss the green, it's the total opposite of a flat course. You are
they've
shooting
worked really
all
hard
the
on the
time.
run-ups. Yeah, they've worked really hard to shape the run, especially on 12 and 14. They also took a lot of the gorse out behind the 12th green, so you can see Hilbury Island better, which I think adds a lot to the aesthetic of the hole as well. But they worked really, really hard on shaping the runoff. So not just that, on the 4th as well, to provide a chipping challenge or a short game. You don't have to chip, but a short game challenge. If you miss the green, getting up and is gonna test your brain.
Okay, right. I think it'd be a good idea for Alex Orka to introduce himself. But just before we do bring him on, Alex owns a golf brand called Orka Golf. Mike, you're good friends with him as well, aren't you?
I've been out for a good few years, yeah.
It's going to be interesting for me and Josh to know about the inside of the world of owning a golf brand. So let's get him on. Hi, Alex. How's it going?
Here's the man himself.
How are we doing, fellas?
Hi, Alex.
Yeah, good. Thanks to you.
Yeah, good, mate. Good. MJ, good to see you, man. Still trying to grow a goatee, I see.
Not intentionally. This is just about to have a shave for 3 days.
Well, at least you've started puberty, mate.
Correct. See, this is why I can't go for him on here, because he's too quick.
Yeah, sorry, boys. I'll try and dumb it down. Yeah.
No,
we like that.
I love the fake background there. You're obviously sat in your kitchen or something, then, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to say to Mike earlier, I'm in the room in your house, when you just put all your shit. I've got about 7 different categories of house shit in this one room. So I thought, why not just put the St Andrews background on and hide it all?
It's cute. Yeah. Bless you, man. Yeah. You could have gone with it and said, no, I'm actually there. I'm sat outside.
Yeah, well, you'd probably get away with it with the weather, to be fair. It's been nice. We've been lucky.
Good work. So how are we all, fellas? All right? All good?
Great, thank you.
Yes, all good. I'm excited for you to share the knowledge with these boys.
I am as well.
I'm tired of sharing the knowledge. Everyone rips it off.
we're not those type of guys, don't worry, Alex. I am especially interested in sort of building in clubs and stuff like that. So
cool.
I'll be sending a
as long as you don't say shafts don't matter, you'll be all right.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you the other day?
If you come out with that, do you know what? People who say shafts don't matter genuinely should have a nappy on their face. They talk so much shit. Pardon my language. Sorry. Apologies.
Your language is absolutely fine. This is probably the one podcast where we advocate it, if anything, just go for gold. But I love the way it started. Before I've even asked you to tell us, for you to introduce yourself, Alex. But I think from what we've had so far, you're quite a brash guy. So you go first and you tell us.
I am as subtle as a house brick for a window. And I don't care. Listen, I will tell it you straight. That's sue me. I'm not here to be fluffy and give you a cuddle and tell you what you want to hear. I give it you straight, But the one thing is, we just love our brand fans, and they like it straight. I'm not gonna give you this clickbait nonsense and massage your ego. If I think you're crap and need to go away, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
If I think your product needs snapping and putting in the bin, I will. It's been known. There's a few videos out there. I've snapped a driver in a fitting and just put it in the bin.
You tried to do that with my irons the first time I saw you, didn't you?
Yeah, they're shocking. No, I'm not. I'm just super laid back and love a laugh. I never take myself seriously. I'm very lucky in what I do and I love it. But I'm certainly not naive enough to say I'm the best. But I'm definitely in the top one.
Yes, I like that. I like it. We share that mentality.
You've got to back yourself, and everything we've done over the years, it's always been backed by the data. And Mike could tell you, he comes down to the HQ a few times, when he needs to tune up and whatnot. And there's no sugarcoating it. Everything we do is backed by the data, not try and sell you what goes furthest, because it's nonsense. If you know the data and stuff, we get it right for people, and 9 times out of 10 we outperform any brand that walks through the door. But we're not here to wax lyrical and say, oh, we're the best, come and buy us. That's not what we're about. If you come into this studio or any of our fitting centres, no one will try and sell you a product. They educate you. You'll have made the decision before the end of the session whether you're going to do it or not,
Yeah. So my first question is, for obviously we'll do it'll be in the title of the episode, etc. But Alex owns his own golf brand called Orka Golf. So how did that come about then, Al?
I just love Wales. Free Willy was an inspiration.
The country or the animal?
Yeah, and because I'm dyslexic, I spelled Orca wrong and it just stuck. No, it's that's only joking. No, it's born. The brand was born out of the frustration with the industry. I played a well-known brand. Michael, you know who it is, and whenever I say it, people chuckle. It rhymes with shite list. I used to play that brand, and they were the best. That's what I presumed were the best when I was a kid, and I played them when I grew up in North Wales, playing golf at Old Colwyn and Abergele and Conway. Proud North Walian. Came down south and carried on playing the brand mentioned. And it frustrated me, something wasn't quite right. And I never really knew the world of club building, never knew the world of club fitting. I was wet behind the ears to it, when you see these bigger brands and guys on tour playing it, you think, well, if they play it, it must be the best, But not many people realize it's a bought stat, it's a bought number. When you see number one glove, number one ball, just the brand's going and paying all the players, look, here's all the balls, gloves, and $50,000. It's a stat. So I was unaware of that part of the industry, but took my clubs to a club builder who used to build for a brand called Ollymore or Ollymar, however you want to say it.
Oh, I remember them.
Yeah, lovely. Great fairway wood. Yeah, very good fairway woods. A bit like the old Sonotech stuff. They were phenomenal as well.
No, I've still got one of them. Still got one.
Yeah, and that was still got one. That's a classic, that, Mike. A bit like your golf swing.
It wasn't me. Nothing classic about my golf swing. You've seen it. And so have they as well.
I was at Woburn at the time as a trainee assistant, snotty Mars bar seller. Whenever we did a stock take, the tracker bars were a good couple of hundred out. No idea why. I took him to this guy called Mike Smith, and he just showed me how badly built they were. And this was a mainstream leading brand, if not the biggest at the time. I was just frustrated. I was like, how bad is that? And if they're doing that to me, one of the guys in the shop, what they're doing to Joe Public. And it's bad when you see the build quality of some of these products. And guys are paying anywhere from 800 quid up to maybe 1,500 quid, if not more, for a set of irons, and they can't even be built properly. It's baffling, Orka was born in 06, hit the market in 07. The first product we made was absolute dog shit. Pardon my language, man. It was terrible. But you've got to start somewhere, and you only learn from your mistakes. If you think you're the best and you're above learning, you're naive and you're going to fail. I learn every day. Just not here to say we get it right every time. Far from it. But 2009 was a big turning point for us. We won Best on Tour Test Gold Award for the PS9, and that's what really put us on the map. We beat every brand under the sun: TaylorMade, Callaway, Mizuno, Shiteless, you name it, we beat them. And that's what really set us off. And what's baffling is we're the last British brand. It's mad. I sit there and think, in a world of golf brands out there, and there are hundreds of hardware brands, like literally hundreds. It's not just the big 6 or 8 that you think exist. But we've beaten them all, and that's mad. And we're the last genuine British brand. I pinch myself some days, very lucky lad. Lucky lad, little chubby North Walian lad who used to play rugby, mixing it with the big boys. Love it. Absolutely love it.
So I don't know, I was going to ask, so if I'm going back to 2009 now, so what did that do for you at the time?
Well, I was sat on a beach lounger, having far too many pints of beer when we got the heads up, which was mega. It was like, oh, you've won gold award. It was like, oh, sweet. Well, we won a sleeve of balls, a toaster. And it was mad. It just went from there. The popularity of the brand grew. you know, we got to thank the likes of Ian Wisnam was playing with it. He had the RS1 and RS5s. You know, he was a mad him playing like the irons. You know, he approached us, got a set from a very good club builder who's been using our stuff since we launched, Kevin Redfern at Pinner Hill. Unbelievable club builder and fitter, and he's very well known on the seniors tour and stuff. And Wizzy got a set through him, and it just kind of snowballed from there, really. We've had former world number one Dave Thelwell using a set of RS10s. An amazing phone call from him out of the blue. You know, I remember watching him as a kid taking on Tiger Woods and getting world number one when Tiger was at his pomp. You know, it's like, hang on a minute, I've got this former world number one on the dog and bone to me asking to play the RS10s. I'm like, you having a laugh? I used to watch you as a kid, mate. You know, how'd you get my number and all that? He said, don't worry about that. I just want to play your irons. And I'm like, mate, I can't. I'm not here to pay you. You know, we do more for the homeless than we do paying players. I can't. He's like, I'm not asking them. Just want to play your irons. Man, that's insane. And that was like 2013, 14. So wow. You know, it's crazy. I pinch myself some days. Others I punch myself, you know, but it's love it, absolutely love it, you know.
I suppose sorry Josh, I just want to carry on with that. I suppose one of the biggest, and you might tell me I'm way off the mark, but I suppose one of the biggest frustrations you have is that a lot of professional golfers perhaps would like to explore a brand like yours, but they're tied into money contracts. So as you can't offer that type of financial backing, I bet you that pisses you off, really.
It gets on my tits a little bit. It's the thing with the professional industry, right? It's no one is buying. Dare I say it? Let's use them because I love them so much. No one's buying Shitless because World 150 uses it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. No kid sat at home going, oh, some random French fella at World 150 plays that, I'm going to go buy it. It's nonsense. Tour players no longer sell product, right? In the world of Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson at the Pomp, yeah, every kid and McIlroy, every kid wanted to play what they were playing, right? Like every kid when I was a kid wanted to use the football boots David Beckham used. Well, I was crap at football, great at rugby, you know. Those boots did me no favours. But it's that aspirational part of it. So, you know, no one right now is buying ping irons because Hovland is playing ping irons. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't move the needle enough. The industry has changed quite a lot in the last 5, 6, probably 10 years, I'd say, where those big money contracts are paid out. You know, it's common knowledge. You know, the irons Woods was using back in the day were Mura stamped with a Nike swoosh. You know, he wanted the softest irons made for him, and every kid sees a Nike swoosh, off he goes and wants to buy them. That's how it works. But for me, I'll never pay a tour player. You know, unless we were turning over a couple $100 million a year, it would never happen. We do more. If a tour player came to me and gone, "Oh, can you build me a set of irons?" I'd be like, "Mate, look, I'll build you a set of irons that'll win you more money than I'll ever pay you. How about that?" Yeah. You know, you're not going to go take your gearbox goes on your car. You don't go to a mechanic who's got a blowtorch and a teaspoon hanging on the wall. You go to the guy with all the tools, right? So it's about having the best tools to do the job, regardless. But a lot of these lower level pros who are still phenomenal athletes, by the way, you know, worlds above club pros and teaching pros, etc. These satellite tour lads, if a brand comes to them and says, look, we'll give you $5,000, he's going to rip their arm off regardless, because that $5,000 might be his travel expenses for the year. So it's a big, you know, it's massive. Whereas I'm just not going to pay. Bigger things we do is we go and feed homeless. You know, every set of irons we sell, we go feed people. That's a bigger buzz for me than paying a tour player who's going to be a bit of a pain in the arse. 1 minute he's not doing well, 1 week, what's the first thing he does? Looks at his tools, blames his tools, you know. Actually, mate, the clubs are inanimate objects. They don't wake up pissed off. They don't go to sleep happy. They don't go to bed, annoyed because the wife's been chipping away in his ear. They don't go to bed happy because he's won 50 quid on the football at the weekend. They're inanimate objects. It's operator error. So it's taking ownership of that. If a tour player came to me, look, mate, I'll build you the tools that'll win you the money. How about that? We've done it for a few of the satellite lads. One recent one who won on the tour out in SA, the Sunshine Tour, James Mack. Do you know what? the only South African I know who's got a sense of humour. And he's a good-looking lad as well, so he gets away with it. He could probably turn me, to be fair. He's a lovely lad. Like, I couldn't wish anything but the best for him. He's a proper good golfer. Had an injury towards the end of last season, so that's a dive out. But he was on a roll, and we looked after him for 4 years. And he did the right thing. He called me up and said, "Ping, who I highly rate, have offered me," and I'm like, "Mate, take it. The fact that you've called me, perfect. They'll support you on the tour. I'm not going to be flying around on tour, So for him, great deal. They've kitted him out. They'll support him on tour and bung him a few quid. That might pay for his caddy or his hotel or whatever. And that's the fine margins with these boys,
Is it I know you said you'd never, unless you were turning over ridiculous money, you'd never sponsor a tour player. But is it a aim or goal of yours to do that very thing in terms of support players who play your irons, maybe go to the odd tour event abroad with the facilities to tune and master their clubs, etc.?
Absolutely, mate. If we had a dozen satellite lads who needed support, we'd go do it. If they're playing well, earning money, they're only saying good things about us. At the minute, any of the satellite lads we look after, they can come to HQ whenever they want, get a tune-up, check-up. We'll sort out their clubs. Mike's been there a few times. It's a top-tier facility, and we'll look after them. If we got to the point where we're turning over stupid money, I'd probably be sat on a yacht, loving life.
Yeah.
At the minute I'm sat on a dinghy drinking a warm beer. When it gets to that stage, of course we're going to support tour players. If anyone on the European tour, Europro Tour, Challenge Tour, whatever, knocked on my door, gave me a call. Well, listen, how can we support you? How can we help you? And that's always been the case. We've over the years supported so many satellite players. We're not against it, just at the minute, we're not going to pay you, mate. We can do better things with that money. There's people on the streets praying to have our problems. I'd rather go feed a load of them. Mike knows about what we do, that with regards to that. I'd rather go do that than pay some lad $5,000 who's never going to do anything,
Yeah. I have to applaud you for what you're doing with the homeless before I ask my question. So great job.
I appreciate it.
How often do you have to redevelop what you offer and what your line is? Because you look at the likes of TaylorMade and Callaway, you can't keep up. By the time you've bought one, it's old next week because they've made a 10th version or 11th version. So what's your timeline?
But just before you answer, sorry, Alex, I was going to ask that very question as well, Tris. So I'll add one on to that, Alex. So following Tris' one is how often you do it, etc. But what do you think of how often these big brands do as well?
Okay. So this is, Mike will tell you this. We have numerous conversations. I am like a thrush to the industry. Because I tell people, ask me a question, I'll give you the answer. There's no hiding behind the lines. I'll open the door to the industry and how it works for anyone. For me, it's absolutely bloody scandalous that these brands churn out product, the new latest and greatest, every 9 to 12 months. It's absolute nonsense, okay? There is no genius R&D that will find you 30, 40 yards and go arrow straight. It's absolute drivel, okay? No matter what clever marketing campaign you see, there is a phrase I use. You cannot polish a turd, but you can roll in glitter, right? And there's a lot of brands who roll a turd in glitter. And baffle you with bollocks. Is no clever science. All the technology development is in shaft and golf ball, right? And if you hear any clown tell you shaft doesn't matter, give them my number. I'll give them education. And golf ball is massive. This is why they're talking about the golf ball rollback at the minute. The tech is in shaft and ball. The head, there's no massive revolutionary tech in a golf head. A lot of these brands will baffle you with bollocks, pardon my language, by saying it's the latest, greatest and goes furthest because they bunged it in a loft and line machine and cranked it 4 or 5 degrees strong. Some of these brand 7 irons are like 27, 28 degrees loft. Outrageous. It's a 5 iron. So you get some poor fella go, mate, I have a 7 iron 190. Shut up, Derek. You've not hit 190 forever. Your 7 iron's a 5 iron. Do you know what I mean? It's like you can't it's just bullshit. It's baffling bollocks. Listen, pardon the language. I get passionate about when I talk about it. It's
hey, we're all men here, Alex. I think we can all appreciate how important balls and shafts are, can't we, lads?
Listen, my balls beautiful. Mum, if you listen, I made it. No, I'm joking. It's you with these bigger brands constantly churning out product, right? They have to churn out product to be stay relevant, right? There is no, if you took one of their irons from a specific brand, take any one, we've done testing and we laugh about it. It's just funny. You take a 7-iron from 4 years ago to current one, there is no different in terms of performance. You can have the same guy, same shaft, same spec, same loft. There'll be nothing. There might be a yard or so. It's not revolutionary, just cranking lofts. It's actually quite piss poor. And what you're doing is you get the working man, and this is my irritation with it, who's got 2 kids and a wife, bless him, mortgage, job, earns his 45 grand a year, maybe less, whatever, and his passion is golf. That's his love. Golf is that's my thing. His wife's might be, I don't know, new washing machine, shoes, holidays, whatever. And he's going to work hard to save his money for his irons, right? Which, let's say the average set, we know who Mike worked for previously, so it's probably more for them, but your average brand might be, I don't know, 1,200 quid for 6 irons, around about there. And he goes and gets loosely fitted. I use that term loosely. And there's a big difference between custom fit and custom build, which I could lose you for hours on. But custom fit, right, it gets ish fit for these irons, spends 1,200 quid. 6 months later, they're worth 300 quid because the next set's coming out. And they've not even been built properly. And that's my annoyance, is the tolerance within these brands. Not just the fact they churn out crap every 9-12 months. It's the tolerance within them and the build quality. It's just poor. If you want to breed good brand fans who are going to support you, then build it for them properly. You don't spend 10 grand on a new kitchen and the guy's cut the worktop 10 mil too short. He's like, hey, don't worry, mate, I'll fill it in with snot. You'll never know.
Yeah.
Mate, I paid you to fit it to the wall, not bad. Not leave it massive gap. You know what I mean? So, and that's the problem. And a lot of, I get asked this question. I've been asked it in the States when I've done interviews with those guys. What's more important, lessons or clubs? And it cracks me up that. And there's a term. It cannot be greater than the sum of the parts, right? So you could go and have half a dozen lessons and spend 300-400 quid on those lessons, right? But be playing with clubs half inch too short, inch too long, 2 degrees flat, 2 degrees upright. No pro, regardless how good they are, whether a tour pro or a club pro, whatever, is going to make you amazing with those irons. They will help you improve your swing and maybe find the middle and the sweet spot in the hosel now and again. But they won't work, nor will that same pro, even if you've got clubs that are perfectly built for you. You could be offered 28 and have the best clubs ever, but not be able to find the middle of the face. So it cannot be greater than the sum of the parts, right? You've got to have, it's a blend of both, and understanding that blend. And it is not, no one, and I'll argue this as long as my arsehole points down, has a swing fault. Okay, no one has a swing fault. We have a swing characteristic, because no 2 people swing it the same. No one. There is not one plane to swing a club on. There are multiple. Try and tell Jim Furyk, Eamon Darcy, Jeeves Milker Singh, Graham McDowell. Like, you see those swings, you want to vomit and cry in a corner. But they've won majors. They've won millions of dollars. So there's no fault. It's a characteristic. And bad tools, as in clubs, breed those characteristics. So if you're new to golf and you have clubs an inch too short, you're going to be too steep, because your body angle, you're going to be stooped over, you're going to be too steep, you're going to catch a fat divot and probably hit it left to right regardless. But you don't know that the tools have started that. You wouldn't go into a shop if you're a size 10 shoe and buy a size 11 because they're on sale. I'll wear 4 pairs of socks, they'll fit. Yeah. What? Nor would you, and this is where I, going off piste here, when you listen to golf influencers on social media, be very, very careful. I have a phrase, you wouldn't, if your knee hurts or your back hurts, do you go to your dentist or do you go see the specialist?
Yeah.
So you've got to be real careful. So when it comes back to that, do I think the brands are constantly turning out product for the sake of it? Yes, absolutely. Far too often. We don't. Our shelf life can range from our RS1, RS3, and RS5. The RS1 iron, go Google it, you'll see images. Still to this day, I'll say is the prettiest blade ever made. And we were drunk when we done that. But it's stunning. And that range stayed with us for 7, nearly 8 years. I'm not reinventing the wheel. That's the tech is all in the shaft. The only thing you can do with an iron is change the material, whether you use a certain carbon grade of steel or it's stainless or premium forged 1025, S25, CS20. All we can do is make an iron look pretty and change the material in which we use. That's it. That's the tech in irons. This heat treating, okay, to remove the voids in the iron, that kind of helps. Foam filled face kind of helps, a spring effect, but technology is kind of within the iron head is probably peaked. It's reached where it can go at the minute. It's ball and shaft is the key. That's what she said.
So, yeah, you beat me to that. So, do you know what? It's interesting you say that, because I went I'm talking 5 years ago now, I think I went for a driver fitting. And I didn't end up buying the driver, but he asked me if I wanted the full bag fitting as well, and I said no thanks, because in my mind I was like, well, I'm off 25. What's the point getting fit now when hopefully if I hit the goals I want to, I'll be off a less handicap in years to come and my swing will have changed. So there's no point. But what you're saying there is I should have gone and gotten fit for there and then addressed the next round, isn't it?
So let's take the assumption you're off 25. Someone listening to this, right, will probably be off at 25 or 20, whatever, right? Thinking, oh, should I get fit? Should I not? Listen, it's not cheap, okay? But it also can be relatively cheap or cost effective. My biggest advice would be for anyone, especially if you're on a budget as well, right, is go have a fitting and try and see a specialist club builder, club fitter. Head to our website. There's loads of them. You'll find them. I have no grudge or axe to grind with club fitters, and I use that term loosely. They'll give you a good fitting and find you a result that will kind of get you where you need to be, right? And then they will, what do they do with that order? Email it off to the manufacturers, right? And you might have a guy who's in that warehouse who just can't be asked with today. Just can't be doing it. Well, the wife was in my ear, the kid wouldn't shut up, and the dog shat in my slippers. Like, I'm not having a good day. So I'm just going to cut grip and get these out the door because I can't be bothered. And that's where it falls down. Now, when you see a specialist who fits and builds, they've got every intention to give you the best. They fit you and they're going to build your irons, okay? So there's a big difference. That's part of the difference between custom build and custom fit. It's huge. It's like, I liken it to going to Next. Custom fit is like going to Next. Other clothing retail brands are available. Picking up a shirt. It kind of fits. It's a bit short in the arm, so you roll the sleeve up, wear it a bit casual, no one knows, okay? That is like the custom fit. The custom build is like going to a tailor and getting tailored properly. I'm 6'3", used to be that around the waist. I've got my right arms about ½ inch shorter than my left. So when I go get a shirt made, they tailor it. I'm not having to roll a cuff up or anything. It's like it fits me perfectly. And that's the difference between custom fit and custom build. It's a huge chasm. And if you have clubs properly built for you, it's why you'll see it on social, we don't just custom fit, we custom build. I preach that message. The difference is stark. You can go on and see people who follow the hashtag Orkarites thing, and you see guys going, mate, I've shot like 2 under my handicap today, or I've broken 70 for the first time ever. That is just confirmation that what we do is the best, and not many can get close to it. So, regardless of your handicap, if you're on a budget, go see a club fitter, have a fitting, pay for his time, right? When you go get your car fixed, you don't just pay for the gearbox, you're paying for the labour as well, right? Get your specs and go and try and find something close to those specs on Fleabay or Golf Bidder. Find something as close as you can that'll do you well. in terms of shaft profile, flex, weight, in terms of the head. Now, a lot of people don't understand the head design. Center of gravity, is it low? Is it high? Depending on that, if you have a low, I might be testing you here, but do you know what low and high center of gravity do to the ball?
No.
Okay, so whenever you hear low and high, it's vice versa in golf. Okay, so if you hear low kick point, it sends the ball high. High kick point brings the ball low. Low center of gravity sends the ball high. High center of gravity sends the ball low. So bear that in mind when it comes to iron head design as well, because that can be counterintuitive. If you need to hit the ball higher, you certainly don't want a high center of gravity. You want a low center of gravity head, help the ball get up in the air. Likewise, a low kick point shaft rather than a high kick point shaft. So once you've kind of got your spec, you could easily go get a set of irons that'll do you well for £350. You've saved yourself £800, or by not spending £1,200 on a new set of irons that from a certain brand that will be obsolete in 9 months because the latest and greatest have come out. It's nonsense. So I change stuff when I wake up and get bored and think, we need to change something. That's when we do it. I'm not dictated to by what the industry is doing. Couldn't care less.
I have to admit, what you're actually doing is making me want to go and spend a shit of money on Orka.
You don't need to.
Golf. And I'm not just saying that. I think it's your passion, the way you're talking about that. You know what you're doing. So I want to ask now. So let's say someone in a much better position than me with who you were talking about, the family man a minute ago with a wife and 2 kids. That is exactly me, 2 under 2.
Sorry to hear that, man.
But so right now it's not going to be me walking through the doors as much as you're making me really hope that I can put my life savings into it. But let's say someone comes to Orka Golf, they go, right, I'm here. I want the whole package. I want you to measure me, watch my swing, do everything you need to do. I want you to look at the shaft, the grip, the head, the everything. How much is it going to cost a person to come to Orka to take mid to best tier irons and go through the whole process?
$1 million. No, see, this is an interesting one. People go, oh, how much? It depends on what shaft and grip you need. I'll give you a ballpark. Okay. First off, never ever, don't care how good someone says they are, have a full bag fitting in one day. Never. If you love your golf and value your hard-earned cash, never do it, regardless of how much they're pushing you. Okay, you either go for a wood fitting, iron fitting, wedge fitting, putter fitting. Okay, I will never, again, as long as my arsehole points down, is give a full fitting in one day, because it gives negative results. It's quite taxing. Mike will tell you come for an iron fitting, it's not an iron fitting, it's an education, right? And we go through all the possible combinations to find you the ideal, the optimal, as I call it. And those numbers I could talk to you about and lose you forever. People just head to the social medias, you'll see it. We try and find you the optimal spin, optimal launch, and that could be going through a whole iron fit, can take an hour and a half. Then you have a cup of tea and then you crack on with your woods, have a day off. So we do slightly things differently. And you get a number of little extras. So you only ever pay, if you come for a fitting, you pay for our time, okay? But we refund that against your purchase because we value our time, right? And if you come for an iron fitting and go, I want woods, we don't charge you for a second fit. You just book in and we'll do your wood fitting. And we tend to do that when they come pick up their irons. That's the education. They're so clued in after irons. People who have a session with me for an hour and a half and normally go away more educated, more clued up than a lot of fitters out there. And I've had guys call me up in fittings with big brands, and this is the data you need to look for. This is the spin, the launch, and they'll challenge the fitter. If you're not sure, ask, challenge. And that's how I learned. I was a pain in the arse. I went to America and challenged club fitters and builders. I would question them and go, no, I think you're wrong. And they'd look at me and go, shut up, Al. No, I think you're wrong. Challenge them. That's how you learn. So when you're in a fitting, ask. Don't be afraid. You're there with an supposed expert who should be able to tell you why. So we offer that over a multiple of fittings. And our driver tops out with a premium shaft at about 335. Goes right down to 275. Our irons, depending on what you go for, entry level CTIs, you're paying about 100 quid a stick, depending if you have steel or graphite. If you get to RS10s, which are the only quad net forged iron on the planet from premium S25C steel, which is softer than butter left on a windowsill, it is proper mustard. They go around at about 189 with a premium shaft. But what I said to people, look, if you can go get a second-hand set, if you're on a budget, buy a second-hand set. We'll refit them for you. Come down, have a fit in, and I'll go, yeah, you just need to change those shafts. It costs you half the price. A lot of people do that. We're not adverse to that. You know, if we look after you, what's the first thing you're going to do when you get to the golf course? Wax lyrical about us. And your mates are going to go check us out, you know, which is why, again, reverting back to the why we don't really do a lot with tour players, because they don't sell product. Our brand ambassadors do more, like the football players. You go turn up at a golf day with Phil Jagielka, Dave May, Paul Scholes, whoever. The first thing you're doing is what? Looking in their bag. Yeah. You know, Dave Mays, you'll find a pack of 4 pork pies and a beer. Scholesy, you'll find you'll find a voodoo doll for Liverpool. It's you know, so you're going to look in their bag and go, oh man, I'm going to check these out. You know, so how we build clubs and how we educate people is part of why we've done so well. You know, a couple of years back, I'll say a couple of years back, it only seems like a couple, but it was ages ago, 2014. Did this interview in America, and the guys were like, why are you so successful? And I said, well, we're still learning. We're not major successful yet, but we focus on our own shit. If I worry about anyone else or any other brand to take my eye off the ball, we focus on ourselves and looking after our customers, because believe it or not, I see it as my privilege that you guys would play our brand. That's my privilege. It's not your privilege to be playing it. If you didn't buy it or play it, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be sat in my dinghy drinking warm beer. Keep buying it because I want to sit in a yacht drinking cold beer. But it's, you know, that's where we differ. We actually care about our brand fans, which is this collective of Orkaites, which I absolutely love. The word ites means a gathering. Orkaites, they're just like, this is so cool. And I didn't even think of that. I'm not taking any claim to that. Some random person on social media, love to find who it was, sort my set of irons. You watch, I'll get inundated. It was me now. But yeah, so it's that collective and how we educate the people so they go away and they're not having to get a new set of irons next month because it's the latest and greatest. It's, you know, when you see people say, I hit my 7-iron 190, I always say, what's the loft? And they don't know what I'm saying. Mate, I guarantee it. And we show them when you come into Orka HQ, I show you the build quality of your irons before you even swing one of ours. Mike's seen it. We show you the swing weight, the lengths, the loft lies, to show you what you're playing with. And then when I show you what we use, our irons range from 34 degrees to 36 degrees, our 7-irons, which is traditional loft. And when people go, I can't hit that, I'm not going to hit that as far as my 7-iron, you will, because we'll get you hitting the optimal spin. Spin is king. That is the most important number on the planet when it comes to club build. Get the spin right, everything else is taken care of outside of technique. So when people are hitting our 7-irons just as far, if not further, Mike's done it. He's had a fitting. He's hit our 7-irons further than his old 7-iron, and he's looking at me like I walked into his house and pissed on his dog on Christmas Day. Like, what are you doing? You know, and it's an education.
I haven't told anyone about that in all fairness. So.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. It's when you see the data and we educate you and talk you through it, it's a massive, massive eye opener, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. It's actually, our stuff is better value. I hate the word cheaper, better value than the leading brands, because I don't pay tour players, and we give you better materials, better built. Because look, your clubs, if I fit you personally, your clubs are going to be built by me, because I'm anal like that. And when you have the fit, you think, how is this cheaper? Because I don't pay tour players, mate. Because I don't waste all this money on marketing. I'm going to give you the best, build the best, and you're going to play your best. It's that simple. And I love it, just love it. And I struggle to get away from fitting people, because that's how I started, you know. It's good fun.
I'm interested to hear your point of view, just briefly, on from you as someone as knowledgeable as you are in the world of golf equipment, and not you as an Orkaite, as you would say. Mm-hmm. Now, if you had to play a full bag of brands, only because for us as the average golfer,
what would you play if you weren't playing mine?
Yeah, to us, Mizuno are the best irons, TaylorMade the best drivers, Scotty Cameron's the best putters. That's your average person. Now, from you, what would you say?
Okay, so I've got to be impartial, sat on the fence here. If I wasn't Mr. Orca, what would I play? I'd probably play Orca. No, I'm joking. It certainly wouldn't be Shightless. Let's put it that way.
Gathered that.
Yeah, that's a joke. I just say that tongue in cheek. They're not a bad brand. They're just built really poor. Every brand has a strength. Okay, like you've just nailed it there. TaylorMade are known for their woods. They are phenomenal, right? I've done a few interviews before where I've called them Schmade because I can't really say their name, you know. But all joking aside, their woods are phenomenal. There's only really 4 brands that I genuinely highly rate, because I've seen thousands of sets of irons in my time across all the brands and their general level of build quality. If money is no object and you want to play a set of irons and you've got a blank checkbook, and you're not buying hours, you're gonna go buy Mura, okay? If you've got a bit of money, but you can't really go chuck it up the wall, and you want a nice iron, you get Mizuno. I call them Mizuno, just a bit tongue in cheek again. You get Mizuno because their irons are beautiful. Genuinely, they are beautiful. And I would, if I was playing an iron that wasn't my own, I would be playing Mizuno irons. If you like a nice iron, but money is a bit of a real tight one, then you go get Srixon, because they make good irons. Like, they're genuinely pretty good. Woods, you're only ever going to get TaylorMade, maybe a Callaway. Wedges, you're going to get a Vokey or a Tall Cedar. People will be like, what, Tall Cedar? There's a brand called Yuyuri, a Japanese brand, and their wedges are insane. Go check them out. Putters, I love this one. So everyone says Scotty Cameron. Look, Scotty Camerons look pretty on a shelf, right? Just like Jessica Alba looks pretty sat on the beach. But I bet when you take her home, she can't make you a bacon sandwich, you know? And that's the problem I have with Scotty Camerons. They look amazing. But again, I've seen so many poor ones come through the studio in terms of loft. We had a lad called Luke Johnson, played Walker Cup years and years ago. Very, very good golfer, played for England, like phenomenal golfer. He's not playing anymore. Lovely lad is Luke. Came in with his trusty Scotty Cameron, would never change it. He's like, I keep leaving my putt short. I don't know what's going on. We put it in the loft and line machine. It should have been 2.5 degrees. It was 7. That's the quality. They look great, but I wouldn't personally play. There's only 2 putter brands I would play, and that's Even Roll or Bettinardi. That's where you go. And what cracks me up is, and again, this is for all golfers out there, regardless of your ability, age, gender. What's the one club in your bag that you use the least, really? Like, if we're being honest, probably driver. Yeah. Maybe a fairway wood, but your driver, right? If you're 18 holes, how often are you taking out of the bag? If in Mike's case, you're taking out 18. Those par 3s are long, you know.
Oh, I know. Terrible.
But if you're taking your driver out of the bag, I guarantee you're probably maybe 9 times, 8, 9 maybe. Yeah. Might be, probably about that. So you go and have a fitting and you'll spend 500 quid with a certain brand for a club you pull out of the bag 9 times, but you won't go and spend 350 quid on a custom fit putter. The one club you pull out of the bag the most. Cracks me up. You don't write in your scorecard how far you hit it. You write how many times it took to get the ball in the hole. That's what she said. So golf, we are baffled by nonsense, and social media has got a lot to blame for that. Blokes like golf clubs, like women like handbags. We're just drawn to them. We want a pair of shoes. We just want them. My ex-wife would always complain to me, why do you want another motorbike? You've only got one arse. And I'm like, why have you got 40 pairs of shoes? You've only got 2 feet. We're just drawn to things we like, don't we? And golfers like it for blokes,
Quick question. What if you did take Jessica Alba back and she could make a bacon sandwich as well?
I would be happy as a pig in shit.
Yeah.
What are the chances of that, though?
I've got to ask, Al. Where did the Orca name come from? Obviously, I know we associate with orcas, killer whales, etc. But I've obviously seen the brand before, seen Mike play them when I first met, etc. And there seems to be an Asian sort of market. I don't want to say whether it's Japanese or Chinese, I'm not sure. But if you could just touch upon, where the name came from.
Yeah, so if you look on our irons, there's Japanese symbols and writing over there. Everything we use is Japanese steel. Our premium stuff's Japanese. Our lower end stuff is Japanese steel, but made in China. Everything about us is we are last British brand using proper Japanese materials and forging processes. That's what we pride ourselves on. Orka sounds Japanese as well. How the brain works. If you give me a brand that's 4 letters long that you know of, the first one off the top of your head.
Nike.
Right. How do the Americans say it? Nike. Right. 4 letters, 2 syllables. Puma, eBay, Sony, Orca. So it's how your brain associates. It's quite clever. I'm not just a pretty face. It's quite business minded as well. So what we never realized, I'm quite embarrassed to say, and a few people know this story, we had an agency in quite a number of years ago just to check our branding was strong, the name was good. And if you go look at anyone now, go look at our logo on the website, etc., you look at the letter A, it looks like it's got a gold flag inside it. I never knew that. I didn't know that was there for the best part of 7 years. So which is quite embarrassing, but also pretty cool. A good fluke, I would say.
Is that like the arrow in the FedEx logo that you can't unsee after you see it?
Yeah, absolutely. And a bit like the smile from A to Z in Amazon. It's quite fluked it. There's a lot of stuff we've done over the years where we have fluked. Do not mind owning up to that. We're not proclaiming to be the best, other than being in the top one. We learn from it. So, and also it's a really cool name. It does sound.
Yeah,
Asian.
it does.
It looks mega on the irons. We're 16 years in, 17 years in nearly. We're still very much learning. But if someone had said 17 years ago, Al, the brand will have won 40 awards and you'll be in 37 countries, I'd have fallen off my chair laughing. But here we are.
Do you obviously, are you happy with that Orca resonates with people as well, in the sense that it's to do with killer whales, the most sort of
I love it, yeah,
apex predator in the world? You know what I mean?
Like we're a small fish making big waves in a very big pond. It's like I said, Orca. I my favourite film as a kid was Free Willy. I love orcas, but I'm dyslexic and I spelled orca wrong and it just stuck.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't bother me. I just love orca like the whale. I'm like, yeah, because that's how we spell it. It doesn't. It's the oldest joke out there, but it's cool. That doesn't bother me. Is what it is.
Right.
One thing I will say, Al, is obviously I've known you a good few years, and I genuinely think that the first time I saw you was the most eye-opening experience I have had regarding club fitting.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, and it's all been downhill from there. But on a level,
we won't say who you work for now.
It's really nice. I don't work for them anymore. It's really nice to hear you talk with such passion to the guys about this, because I know how much you pride yourself on that, and as a brand, how hard you work to bring that across to the brand fans. My only question is, moving forward now from where you are, you're 17 years in, 22 years in, 5 years time, what for you is Orca going to look like?
Like I said earlier, Mike, I want to be sat on a yacht drinking cold beer, not warm beer. It's no, all joking aside. Look, I would be lying if I said this has been an easy process thus far. It has been hard. We're going up against guys who have got bottomless pits of money, but yet we're going up with guys who have got bottomless pits of money, and we're beating them. I can sit there with a big shit-eating grin, going, what we're doing is good. It hasn't always been plain sailing. There have been years where we've got it wrong. There have been years where I've tried to support certain social media people and we got it wrong, very wrong. I've done a lot for a lot of people over the years and have been shat on like a pigeon. It is what it is. You learn from those mistakes. The next 5 years are going to be a lot tougher, especially with the way the world is at the minute. Your working man who's got two kids, I was going to say 2 wives and a kid. Then if you've got 2 wives, you definitely do something. If you've got 2 kids, a wife and a mortgage, and gold, and the cost of living is absolute disgusting. And how I feel for these single parents who can't feed themselves, or dads going to bed stressing like, how am I going to keep my wife happy and my kids safe? And, you know, their mortgage is doubled almost. It's crazy. So golf is a luxury. It's a discretionary spend, you know, like I'm not just competing against other golf brands for Mike Thelwell Jones or Josh or Mr. Griffiths here to buy a set of irons. You know, I'm competing against you boys going, do I buy a new set of irons or take the family on holiday next year? Or do I buy a new set of irons or the missus a new sofa? You know, it's that's what we're competing against for discretionary spend. So the next 5 years for the golf industry are going to be hard. Okay, and golf goes through these pits and troughs. It ride a high wave, like we did coming out of lockdown. Golf was one of the first sports you could play. So everyone's like, mortgage, holidays for 6 months, bang, let's go buy golf clubs because I have to pay my mortgage for 6 months. I've got all this liquid cash. Boom, golf industry took off. Members were flooding into golf courses. Now that's plateaued, and cost of living's gone up. And the first thing we do is look at what can we cut back on. So whereas a lot of people don't buy clubs every 2 years, they're probably going to buy clubs every 4 years. They might be looking at second hand rather than new. So for the next 5 years for us are maintaining what we've got, building a solid foundation so we survive. You know, we've survived 2 recessions and a pandemic. We're doing all right. But also to finally open up the US arm of the business. That is a big pull for me the rest of this year, is getting that foundation in place. So January at the PGA trade show, we can finally go, we got a stock up here, lads. Let's take it. Let's have it. Because the US is the biggest golf industry on the planet. It's 840 billion. 840 billion. I would love nothing more than 0.5% of that. It's 40 odd million. That'll do me. That's me buying a yacht and plenty of cold beers. Maybe employing Jessica Alba to make my bacon sandwiches. So that's the plan for us. 5 years, continue as we are, solid base here in UK, Europe, and continue to educate the golfers. And our door is open to anyone. People can message me on social media, much to my I love it, but it's also detriment to my life. I will answer anyone and everyone as much as I can, because it's an education. We want the best for you in your golf. To play your best, you need the best, and if we can help you there, we will. So that's the key for us, and 5 years of finally cracking into the US and getting on with it.
Nice.
Have you got left-handed clubs?
We do RS10 for left-handed, but if you are left-handed, retire and take up cricket. Everyone asks me, what do I think to left-handed golfers and lady golfers? I don't mind you playing anytime you want in the winter after 4 p.m. I'm only joking. I'm only joking. But you know, it's funny that the left-handed market, and all joking aside, people know I'm just a joker and whatever I say is just tongue-in-cheek. But left-handers I feel sorry for because they're such a small market. Yeah, for me, for our business, it's less than 0.01% of our turnover. And whenever I design a product, let's take an irons, I'll give you an insight here. When you design a set of irons per loft, in every individual iron, the tooling in the machine to make that one iron can range anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 for one iron. So whenever we make a set of 7 irons, do the math, yeah, that's $21,000 just in the tooling to make it. That's before you've even made a set of irons. So to break even on a product, you have to sell quite a large volume, yeah, which is why a lot of brands won't do multiple left-handed options. You might get one. We do one iron. You know, that's what we do on one wedge. If the left-handed market was 10% of my turnover, it'd be a different story. And that's the difficulty. Funnily enough, the biggest market for left-handers is Scandinavia and Canada. Any idea why? No? Ice hockey. They all play ice hockey.
Wow.
Right. So you get a lot of left-handed golfers in Canada and Scandinavia, which is our distributors in Scandinavia. They do a load of left-handed. But if you ask me what my percentage of sales are left-handed were in the UK, bare minimum. So it's a real conundrum. It's a business decision for most brands. Is it actually financially viable and worthwhile? Which is sad. I feel for left-handed golfers. You're limited to your options, you know.
Nah, it's fine. We're over it. I mean,
we could probably get you playing right-handed better than you can left-handed, to be fair.
I reckon that the way I played since having children, I reckon I'm just as good right-handed as I'm left-handed. But that's when
Ronnie O'Sullivan of golf. Eh?
Yeah. I think now's a good time for us to go to the quiz. Okay, so Alex, basically Josh is a co-host and he's quite a formidable quiz player, if I'm honest. He only has 2 losses to his name this entire season. He's quick off the mark. It's who can answer first. If you answer incorrectly, you're out until the other 2 answer incorrectly as well on that one question. So you're not out of every question. It's just one question. But if you're wrong, you don't get to go again and go again. And you've got to wait until everyone's out on that round. So there's a pint on it as well. So if Josh does beat you, you owe him a pint. If you beat Josh, Josh is gonna buy a new set of
I am back up in North Wales in October. I will take you boys for a pint because I will probably lose handsomely.
don't. Yeah, you're being humble there, Mike. To be fair, Al, sorry, you've been humble there.
If you are up in October, we'll get a game.
So happy days. Let's have it.
Good. All right. Question 1. The Ryder Cup is played in foursomes or 4 balls, but who decides on the order of the day?
Away captain.
Wrong.
It's the home captain then.
Yeah. So 1 point. Mike, you just sort of took years. Then you looked at both answers.
I thought it was just the 2 of them.
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, you forfeit a point there, Mike. So it's
Oh yeah,
Alex,
I know I forfeited the point.
1-0. Orka Golf 1-0.
Let's have it.
Right.
MCJ and JG 0.
Yeah. 2. What did Ludwig Arberg just win to earn?
The Omega Masters.
Listen, boys, he's smashing you.
I've got my pen here. I don't know if you can see that. It says, calm your tits.
Yes. Yeah. We're panicking a bit now, aren't we, Mike?
All right.
Well, you might be, Josh.
Question 3. How many cuts in a row did Tiger Woods make?
126.
Massive.
Incorrect, Mike.
136.
Incorrect. So I'm going to go closest to.
I reckon it's mad number. I'm going to say like 172.
Oh, it's in between everybody, but Josh gets the point for being 6 away. It's 142 consecutive cuts ended in 2005, which is just mad.
Yeah, that is incredible.
That is more cuts than a Jeffrey Dahmer victim. That is insane.
It is. That is some golf.
Question 4. The famous quote, the most important shot in golf is the next one. Who said that?
Lee Trevino.
Incorrect.
Gary Player.
No, so everyone's back in.
Arnold Palmer?
No, incorrect.
Gary Player?
No. Mike, I'm going to help you get a point on the board here. Okay. Speaking
we can't
of,
answer, can we?
No, you both are out. Speaking of club manufacturers, go back maybe 10 years in our junior days.
Hogan.
Yeah, Ben Hogan. Yeah.
I was going to say Ben Sayer. I'm joking.
yeah.
Right, so the scores are Alex 2, Josh 1, and Mike 1. So, question 5. How many Ryder Cup holes in one have there been?
3.
Incorrect.
4.
2.
Incorrect. Everyone's back.
None.
Yes, they have.
So it's definitely been at least 1.
Mike and Josh, quick fire.
4.
No, incorrect. Josh?
7.
No. No one's getting the point for that because it's not closest to. It is 6. So that gives Alex the win.
There you go. You see,
Uh,
downplayed it at wrong
Did I
time.
tell you the pints I drink normally come in a keg?
that's two losses. That's 2 losses on a bounce for me now. I'm losing it.
Do you know what? I'm going to put that on the website, all the awards, and then just at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Start from scratch, episode 30.
Beat Josh in the quiz.
Yeah. That feels bad. I don't like losing. But do you know what? A deal's a deal. Get a hold on, let me just pull it up now. Get a set of
RS10.
RS10s. Is that the cavity back ones?
You got two options.
The MB or the CB.
So, yeah,
when I come up in October, I'll bring a few demos. You can have a slap with.
I'm not a muscle back type of guy. I need that cavity.
Go shell some balls at Old Colwyn. I love hitting sheep. It's great. Best moving targets. I can't tell you, Mick. I love that place, Old Colwyn. Best. I lived from a mile from it. I'd walk down in the summer, play it. It was great. Nothing like finding your top flight Zeb Bellata resting on a nugget of sheep shit. Amazing.
All right, I want to touch on the debate because we are getting closer and closer. So the European Ryder Cup team was named this evening, and there was one omission that I thought was a sure place in the team. Adrian Maronk, the Pole, who had 3 wins on tour, and didn't make it. And it was Ludwig Aberg, Hoyland, and someone.
Højgaard.
No, Højgaard. Yeah, Højgaard. Yeah, Højgaard. Sorry.
Danish fella.
Yeah.
Stracker.
No, he was
Stracker.
Stracker?
No, you after the 6 Bex dress?
No, there was. I think I might have named him then. So I thought that
Maronk would be in.
Yeah.
Iberg, who just won I can't pronounce his name. Alberg, who just won the Omega Masters. Incredible stat. The only Ryder Cup player ever to make the squad and never played a major.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. I saw that. That's a mad stat considering.
Which is insane if you look back.
Basically, isn't he?
Yeah. It's I think there's a lot of people, right, who are going to watch this Ryder Cup and think we're going to get an absolute battering. On paper, you could argue, yeah, we probably will get an absolute battering, but I think there'll be a surprise or two because half the team are rookies, pretty much. Half of the team have been there, done it. I think it's a good balance,
I think Europe are going to win. I've been saying this. I've been absolutely harping on about this. I think the entire season. I think, at the start, I thought that Europe were going to win from an underdog perspective, which is where Europe like to be. But now I think Europe are going to win from a strength perspective. You look at the top 4 in our team. I can't put any of the Americans against them in a Ryder Cup setting.
If you look at the world rankings,
Hovland, it's unbelievable.
The world rankings at the minute suggest that European golf is on its arse. And to some extent it is, right? We lost a lot of players to the LIV, and that's another debate for another day. I'm a fan of the LIV. I'm not a fan of where the money's coming from. I think it's outrageous. But in terms of the product and, the PGA Tour have had a monopoly on the game for so many years. Competition can only be good. Either you evolve or you die. It's that simple. And they're merging is a good thing. How Jay Monahan has still got a job is beyond me. Outrageous. But that's another day, another debate. Back to the Ryder Cup. Losing how. You go on form, but how the likes of like him or loathe him, Ian Poulter has missed a Ryder Cup, right? And if you're going to take Brooks Koepka, why Luke hasn't. And Rory's a little bit to blame for this, and Luke as well. When they first came out and just dropping nonsense about LIV Tour. Again, agree where the money's coming from, and sports washing, it's outrageous, and the country's ethics and all that is wrong. But these boys are self-employed. They'll play where they want, do what they want, earn however they want to earn their money. And you've got a guy who is the greatest Ryder Cup player for Europe, who strives for Ryder Cup. It is his thing, and you're not potentially taking him, regardless of how crap he's playing. He always steps up for Ryder Cup. So I'm a bit baffled why Luke wouldn't take someone like Poulter, who is Mr. Match Play, to the Ryder Cup. Even as a vice captain.
If you're going to throw Poulter into the mix, you might as well put Garcia in there as well. Highest ever point scorer for Europe. Yeah,
I think this whole kind of like bitterness between the two, I think the Full Swing documentary was amazing. It didn't paint McIlroy in a great light, just being a whingy little bitch. Just get on with your golf, mate. You can't be calling Phil Mickelson a dick or whatever it was. And he might be a dick, but don't be coming out thinking you're all Mr. Glory bollocks. Phenomenal golfer is McIlroy, like unbelievable, such a talent. I've never a guy to rip it that far, and he's half the size of most lads on tour. It's just insane, and for him to be doing it for so many years, it's phenomenal, But again, off piste, Ryder Cup, I think it'll be closer than people think. I think there'll be a 2.5 points in it. I don't think there'll be much more than that. I don't think it'll be a whitewash like people might think it is. It'd have been cool to maybe have seen an Italian make the squad, but is what it is, isn't it?
Francesco Molinari gave me real hope a couple of weeks ago when he got off to an happy 6 under for the front nine on Sunday a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, yes, he's coming back to form. He's got Mollywood back. It's going to be brilliant. I just didn't quite get over the line. He'll be there, and then he goes in, obviously, but. It would. I agree with you, Al. It would have been great to see an Italian playing in the Ryder Cup as well.
Unfortunately,
I think the course will help too, though. The way they'll set the course up for the matches will help Europe as well.
Yeah, look, and home crowd and all that, and I remember. I think one of my favourite Ryder Cups of all time. I think it was Boo Weekley played in it, and he was cowboy riding the driver down the fairway and stuff. Ryder Cup needs those characters. The story of him, he didn't. Again, I heard this from a Cleveland rep years ago, Simon Everett, one of the funniest reps you'll ever come across. He was the rep for Galvin Green in Cleveland when we were at Woburn, and he came in and he was talking about Boo Weekley, and it was just as he was kind of breaking onto the scene, this absolute redneck from nowhere. And Hazel Irvine did an interview with him, and he was like, so you're looking forward to the Open? Just remind you, it is the Open, not the British Open. And he's like, I don't know what the Open is. I'm just wanting to play golf, make some money to go hunting fishing. I think I'm going to make $10 million and retire and go hunting fishing. And I'm like, this is what we need. Golf needs Boo Weekleys, but again, back to, I think it's going to be a close Ryder Cup. It'll be mega. It'll be a shame not to see some of the familiar faces. It'd been good to have Poulter as a vice captain. If he never gets to captain a Ryder Cup team ever, it is absolute sacrilege, and golf should be embarrassed if that never happens.
I have to disagree with the point you made, and on the last point, I'm 100% agreement with. And going back quickly to Full Swing, it really opened my eyes on Poulter. And when the emotion was raw between the both tours, I didn't know where I stood. I watched the documentary and I was like, well, fuck me. If I was Ian Poulter at 100% go, there's no question. I actually wouldn't spend any time thinking about it had they gone to LIV. But whilst I think Poulter is 100% going to be a captain, possibly multiple captain, they knew this year they wouldn't be in it. And that's my point for the Americans and my point for the Europeans. They will be the next European Ryder Cup where LIV and PGA is old news, right? And it's they're all friends again. Everyone's on the same page. But everybody knew. Let's go back a year now. It's not new. Everybody knew that Poulter, Garcia, Westwood, everybody knew from day one, lads, you are out of this Ryder Cup. Please don't come back crying tears next September.
I think it
was set from the get-go. Same for the Americans, for the likes of Patrick Reed and them. It was already set in stone. the whole discussions and debates made it clear, lads, you're out.
I think to be fair to them, and this not me sticking up for them, I understand what you're saying. I think they didn't know. I think it was naive to them to sit down and go, we're definitely not going to win a Ryder Cup. They were like, we might not. But these boys,
I agree with that, Al, I think.
What you got to, they were sat down and gone, you might not make the Ryder Cup, right? So you've got that on one side. On the other side, you've got, I don't know what Poulter has paid, right? I'm just using him because I know him from the days at Woburn and stuff. And he's actually a top tier fella, piss funny, lovely lad, gives all the time to everyone, right? He was sat down at 43, 44, and he was struggling, but fighting to keep his card regularly.
Yeah.
Wasn't earning 5 million a year, you know. And he sat down, and someone at LIV's gone, come and be the face of this Majestics team, and we'll pay you 20 million guaranteed to write a check now.
Yeah.
Paul's going to sit down and go, 20 million. How long is it going to take me to earn that on PGA Tour? Probably 10, 15 years. And then I'm well past seniors, right? So I think it would have been a different story had they LIV come into the realms of Poulter and his pomp and Ryder Cup, Medina and all that, and they gone, we'll pay you 20 million. He's like, he'd have laughed him in the face and gone, bugger off. You know, if he was 10 years younger and they asked him, Poulter, I guarantee you would have said, no, thanks. But the fact that 43, 44, same with Richie Bland, he wasn't making multi-millions on tour, has probably been said, Rich, you're 50, we'll give you 5 million. And he's probably gone, all right.
Of all the players that went to LIV, Bland is whose decision I understand the absolute most for exactly that reason. And I agree with Poulter and Westwood, and then the guys in the twilight of their careers, absolutely no issue with them going.
It's the Sam Horsfield that baffles me. Those guys, yes. And Pinero, is it Pinero, the Chilean?
Koepka, I was going to understand DJ going, but Koepka, of the core Americans that went, Koepka was probably the most surprising for me. I actually understand why Cam Smith went. Obviously disappointed he went, but I understand why he went, because
those top three
Norman was involved, and they were promising more events in Australia, and obviously there aren't that many tour events in Australia at the minute anyway. So from Cam Smith's side, I can understand it. Obviously disappointing, especially after he just won the Open, then went to LIV. But the older European guys who have obviously been the mainstay of the Ryder Cup for the last 20 years, obviously I'm not sure they fully appreciated this would be the end of their Ryder Cup playing careers, whether they wanted it to be or not. Like a few of them may have thought, I might not play another one again, but I think there was certainly a case of, if I'm playing well enough, then I'll get in the team.
No, I have to disagree, and that's on the basis that these guys aren't stupid, okay? And whilst I'll say this in the same breath, whilst I fully advocate what they've done, and I haven't done in the past, and I've changed my mind, and I'll say that at any time, especially Poulter, I do the exact same thing. But LIV came out with a 3-day event with no cuts, and they were saying world ranking points from the start. So if they honestly believed that they'd earn their way in through LIV, they were deluded. And
I think you're right there. You're sorry to cut you off. You're absolutely right. I don't think they would have going, oh, we'll earn our way through LIV. I don't think that was the question, the answer they come out with. It was whether we would be given a pick, not world ranking points. You can't get ranking points for a no-cut event, right? A 3-day event. The LIV product is flawed in the sense of no cut, shotgun start is diabolical, and you wait. I've been down to the Centurion event, and you're waiting on some of the tees for quite a while for a group to come through. It didn't have that feel of a golf event like, say, the PGA at Wentworth, right? So the product is still in development. It's not a finalized product. It's not a finished product. It's still needs work. But for those boys on the Ryder Cup, I don't think they went in it going, we'll get in by getting Ryder Cup points, because that doesn't work. Not on a like we said, 3-day event, no cut. They would have gone in going, we might get a captain's pick. That there was still hope that they would get picked because they're Ryder Cup legends. The sad thing about LIV is money talks, right? And Bryson, Brooks, Johnson, Cam Smith have all been paid over $100 million for less events. Have these tall lads come out and gone, guys, LIV isn't great, but they're going to pay me $100 million and I play half the events. I get to be home 20 plus weeks more a year.
Yeah.
Have they come out and said that, guys have gone, we get it, but not to come out and say, I've done it for the money and the lifestyle, I'm going to be at home more. They would have had a lot more respect from a lot more people, rather than going, PGA Tour have had a monopoly on everything and tried to hide the fact they've been paying stupid amounts of money.
Yeah.
Just be honest, man. It's a bit like that ex-Chelsea defender who's just gone to Saudi, and he's openly said, mate, I've come here because they're paying me 50-60 million a year for 3 years, and I'm going to build schools and hospitals in my village in Africa in the middle of nowhere. Just be honest. Like, don't sugarcoat it, don't lie. But the golfing, the PGA Tour is going to suffer a little bit because the best 6 golfers aren't on it anymore.
Yeah.
It's a shame, but I totally agree with you. Look, Ryder Cup not having LIV players, I think the lads going was a big mistake, but those in the twilight went for the money and the hope that they might get a pick. I don't think they were aware going, we're never going to play for the Ryder Cup again. Because it was still very much no one really knew the full parameters of them vacating their PGA Tour membership.
I have a feeling that this is a sign off now, by the way, but I have a feeling that Ian Poulter will play again. Who knows in 2 years?
I hope so. If he doesn't play, he needs to captain, and if he doesn't, it's a sad day for golf, European golf.
I think
I think all of those guys who went over would have probably been captain at some stage had they stayed, had they not gone. And I hope that some your Poulters, your Garcias, your Westwoods, Keimer, McDowell, they're all very good potential Ryder Cup captains. But I'm not sure whether they'll get the chance. And it would be really sad that golden generation of European golfers who made the Ryder Cup so popular, part of initially obviously started with Seve, but since then have made the Ryder Cup so popular and so competitive, wouldn't have the chance to either to win the cup back or to go and win it again as a captain rather than a player.
Lads, I have absolutely loved that, and we've gone. Usually an episode is about 55 minutes, and we are deep into an hour and 35 minutes. Alex, you have been awesome, mate, and you've made me want to spend all my money on Orka Golf.
You don't need to.
No, I'm doing it because I literally want to, and so I'm gonna have to have a conversation with my wife now and say, listen, I know the holiday that you want to do next year was set in stone, but it no longer is. I've had a better offer actually.
You don't need to lose the holiday. There's 2 things you can do real quick. Number 1, sell a kid. Number 2, only fans but with feet.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I reckon Tris knows if he had to sell one of them, he knows exactly which one he'd sell, though.
Oh, yeah.
Why?
If I sold my redhead child, I would say no refunds. Absolutely no refunds at all.
I can see
Brilliant.
that.
When you're up in October, Alex, you have to message us and tell us when you're up.
I'll be up. I think it's around about the 14th, 15th, whatever weekend that is. I will 100% be up.
Yeah, it's the 14th or 15th.
I've got to see my old dear and take her out. Not take her out for dinner, just actually take her out. She's been on long enough now. So yeah, I'll be up that weekend, and we'll get a knock in somewhere or a beer at least.
Yeah, quick 9 holes, morning, evening, whatever works for you. Let's get in contact. We'll go from there. Thanks for coming.
Pleasure, gents.
That would be
Take it easy.
Yeah. Thanks, Alex.
Great to see you all.
Bye.
Hey, Mike, thanks for your time, mate.
Yeah.
Oh no,
really,
pleasure. As I say,
really,
it's always good sparring with Al. He is a font of all knowledge relating to anything to do with custom fit versus custom build and the experience.
He's insane. That was at
You've
time.
learned a lot there, haven't you?
Yeah, the most I've been whilst doing this. That was really interesting. I didn't
want to say it when you told me he was coming on, but I was like, Tris is going to say this is one of his favourite episodes after this, and I know it because I've known Al for a long time.
Yeah, it's good.
Know how he operates. There's not one frill on the guy whatsoever.
No, I love that we get so many different perspectives, and from inside the world of golf like that is great. Thanks for your time, Mike.
Yeah, cheers, mate, and another thank you as well for hosting us in Hoylake as well. Hopefully we can do that. We'll have to host you at Bull Bay soon.
Yeah, but hang on, Mike's also.
If we can coordinate for the 15th of October, which is that Sunday morning,
Yeah.
I should be available, so we can meet. I need to see Alex anyway about club related things. So be handy to bump into him if you guys are going to have a knock somewhere.
You've got to, after hosting us on Hoylake, which was all well and good, but you're not done. You've also got to host us at Abu Dhabi.
Done.
Yeah.
Can we throw some dates at me and we'll sort it?
Okay,
Definitely.
great. Nice one, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Cheers, Mike.
Fair, I'm sure Abu Dhabi would be keen for content stuff. Yeah, I mean, obviously I can speak the club, and I'm sure we can do something. But
that's it, mate. Nice one. Cheers.
No worries, guys.
Cheers,
Take
Mike.
care. Have a great week.
You too.
See you soon.
You too. Take care, Mike. Thank you.